Hi guys, this is God's Truth Sets Us Free. On this channel, we know that God's truth is the only truth that sets us free. Welcome back to my returning subscribers and to my new viewers. Welcome. Please like, share, and subscribe. Today's biblical word is sovereign God. Sovereign God. God shows his sovereignty through many years in countless situations. What does the word sovereign mean? Sovereign means supreme power of authority, the authority of a state governing itself or another state. So as you can see, supreme power of authority is what sovereignty means. And we know that God is a supreme power of authority. Glory to God. And I'm going to just give you a little rundown about the story of Joseph in the Bible, which was a story in the Bible, a situation that happened in the Bible that God showed his sovereignty. And the story of Joseph in the Bible, which appears in Genesis 37 through 50 as the chapter. So you know 37 through 50, that's like 12 chapters. That's a lot. We're not going to read all of that today. Of course not. That's a lot to cover. But God's sovereignty and how he uses suffering to save his people is an example of what Joseph went through. God's sovereignty is shown in how he uses Joseph's life to fulfill his promises to Abraham, including blessing the nation and multiplying Abraham's seed, okay? And the kingdom and the kingship promise. So God cared for Joseph is shown in how he uses Joseph's wisdom and administrative skills to resolve problems. So God showed his care by using Joseph. Joseph had many gifts. He had administrative skills, is what we would call the word today, to resolve problems, and how God chose to use Joseph to interpret Pharaoh's dream. God's ability to turn suffering into satisfaction is shown in how he uses Joseph's life to demonstrate that he is with people in the sin and suffering. So God used Joseph as an example, and the story of Joseph is told of redemption, forgiveness, and God's plan for Joseph. Joseph's early life was the favorite son of Jacob, of course, and was given a cloak by his father. Joseph had dreams that his brothers and the stars and the moon would bow down to him, which made his brothers jealous, okay? So that was a reason that the jealousy, not to say that wasn't a whole lot of situations happening before that led to his brothers becoming jealous of him. But that particular dream where he had a vision of his brothers and the stars and the moon bowing down to him, pretty much pissed him off. So Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers, who sold him into slavery as a caravan of Ishmaelites who took him to Egypt and sold him to Potiphar, the captain of Pharaoh's guard. So he was sold and ended up at Potiphar, the captain of the Pharaoh's guard. And Joseph was also in prison. Joseph was falsely accused of trying to seduce Potiphar's wife and was imprisoned. But we know that Joseph took his coat, that his father, he ran away from that because he wasn't trying to lay down with nobody's wife, okay? So he was in prison wrongfully. Joseph interprets the dreams. While in prison, Joseph interpreted the dream of the Pharaoh's butler and baker and predicted that one would be released and the other one be put to death. Okay, and so Joseph becomes the governor of Egypt. Joseph was promoted to governor of Egypt after correctly interpreting Pharaoh's dream. He rationed the country's produce to prepare for a famine. So we know that Pharaoh had a dream, and basically it was 7 years of a famine and 7 years of it would be a good harvest of 7 years and a bad famine of 7 years. So, Joseph relayed the dream and told them that the dreams that Pharaoh had are both one and the same, because he had two dreams signifying about the drought that would take place, which is the famine, after the bountiful harvest of 7 years, and the drought will begin for 7 years. So, Joseph decided to what? Let's stock up all this food so that we can be prepared to feed the people as they come, and no one starves. The nation doesn't starve from there being a drought. Okay. So Joseph reunites with his family, and Jacob's family came to Egypt to escape the famine, and Joseph invited them to settle in the land of Goshen. Joseph concealed his identity from his brothers, but eventually identified himself after they proved themselves reformed, meaning they proved that they were changed. They were not the same people years ago who decided to just, sell him, okay, who sold him. And of course, I'm sure that that even when he was betrayed, he was hurt by his brothers, but God still always makes provision. So out of something bad, God always allows something good to come out of the bad that the enemy tries to what? Allow to happen. So the story of Joseph is often seen as a prefiguration of Christ. Joseph's story demonstrates the importance of seeking God, even when things are going well, and also seeking God on both ends, when it's going good and when it's going bad. So even though Joseph was betrayed by his brothers, what was meant for evil, what God meant it for good. This betrayal later saved a nation, including Joseph's brothers and family. Glory to God. Joseph being sold led to him being sent early to stop the 7 years of famine. So God sent him ahead of time. You see what I'm saying? So what his brothers did, glory to God, wasn't meant to hurt him. It wasn't meant to, end his life, but was meant to create and make provisions for even the brothers who decided to sell him. They too would need the same brother in order to eat, because look, there was a famine. And the same brother that they decided, like, listen, you are the favorite, we tired of you being favored over us, was the same brother that still they had to come back to and say, you know what? Look, they had to bow down. They had to listen. They had to do the will of God. Glory to God. So God even allows our enemies sometimes to be our footstool all the time. And we don't have to seek revenge for anything that we do, because God always provides provisions, even for the enemies of progress. Glory to God. Glory to God. So Joseph being sold led to him being sent early to stop the 7 years of famine. And God sent Joseph to make provisions to save many lives and many nations. This is how truly sovereign God is. So you see the sovereignty of how God's power and supreme being was led for a nation not to be wiped out, for people not to be wiped out, but for them to save and not be starved by starvation of a famine. Glory to God. What was meant for bad in your life, God can turn everything into good. Thank you for watching. Until next time, be safe.